Hello everyone, my name is Kate Glaser and I'm here with Dan Kautz from Kautz Buckley. Today we are going to talk about financial planning, the basics, everything you need to know about why it's so important to have a financial planner. I know I do not have a financial planner, so I'm excited for this conversation and what you can bring to the table. So first and foremost, let's just talk about the basics here.
Sure. So you want to know what you'll get as delivered product or what goes into building the financial plan?
Yeah, I think the basics when it comes to what goes into a financial planning session and why is it so important?
Well, first what we do is we'll invite the client into our office. We'll get to talk with them, get to know what's going on in their life and where they're at, because the plan could be for anyone at any age at any time. And once we get to know the client and we understand what their goals are, then we help them prioritize what's next, right? And then we'll figure out what kind of reports need to come out of the finished product, such as, will we need a cash flow report? Like, when do I pull money out of my retirement account to help pay the bills? Or is there a year that's going to be more expensive than other years because we got someone going to college? Or I intend to sell the house that we started in to move to a bigger house. Well, what's the financial need, or what is the financial resources that we have to pull from? So we'll always start with documents, collecting documents. I always call it the art of the plan and the science of the plan. The art of the plan is get to know each other. What's going on? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? The science of the plan is very simple. We're going to need your retirement documents. We're going to need your savings accounts. The biggest thing we're going to need is your budget. Budget is everything. You'll hear me say that over and over. To be successful in financial planning, or just to be comfortable to know that you are going to be okay, is to know where all the pennies go. So once we collect the science part and we get an understanding of where you want to go, we're able to move into a second appointment. We'll put together a plan. We'll put together some of the reports. Then we move into a second appointment. And at that appointment, we confirm our information. Because so many times people will leave the office and go, oh, I forgot, or I want to do this, or no, maybe we'll prioritize this. So we want to confirm the information, make sure we're going on the right track. And then from there, we're able to present a plan that represents where you are now and where we expect to be going in the future. Again, the biggest thing is cash flow. Where am I getting the money? How much am I saving? Do I need life insurance? Which is something we'll probably talk about a little later. Because so many people plan for their retirement, but they don't cover themselves for the uneventful or the unfortunate situation that may happen tomorrow.
And Dan, why is it so important to be able to get on this and really be proactive when it comes to financial planning and knowing your future?
Yeah, knowing your future. The longer you have to go, the less of the changes you may have to make to your budget or your habits. Because remember, money is not math. Money's emotional. Money is habits. Right? And when we started doing financial plans and everything, we always thought we'll be working with mom and dad that are going into retirement. I got 2-3 years before retirement. What's it look like? We have quite a few clients in that, and they've been our clients for many years. We've been in the business for over 24 years now. But what's happened is we're getting into being introduced to the next generation, their kids. And they're wanting to know, where does mom and dad have their money in case they need to help mom and dad as they get older? But then they realize, holy cow, why aren't we doing this now? So the question might be, who should do a plan? Everybody. Don't you want to be successful financially? So, and a lot of it happens with budgeting. And when is this going to happen, or when is that going to happen in our lives? And being able to pivot. I know we got this. I know we got a plan. Are we working the plan? Or do we need to change because something's happened in our life? So who needs a plan? If you want to be successful financially, you need a plan.
So what you're saying is you can never start too early, correct?
Oh, no, never. I got to tell you, the benefit we've seen, because I always thought it would be somebody who would be in their 50s or 60s, right? But the benefit we've seen from young families, people just getting married, being able to get a handle on roles, responsibilities within the house, who's doing this, who's doing that. In other words, who might be keeping the checkbook, who might be paying the bills, right? But also, what's our budget and who's spending what? Because that can be a domestic situation there.
Sure, it's very important to know sort of where money is going, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you can't be judgmental. You can't yell at each other because you're never going to get the benefit. I mean, you've got to throw it on the table. And especially if you're young and you're just married or the kids are just coming along. When you're just married, let's travel. Let's go. We got our jobs. We got money in the bank. You know, we're good. All of a sudden, the kids come along. That budget changes. Yeah. Your priorities change. And it's good to have a plan, but it's also important to know where you can pivot. You know, so it's just is start early. And I think you're going to feel comfortable and be successful in the outcome.
Wonderful. And I can feel the passion that you have for financial planning. Why is it so important to be able to invest in your future? What is the importance of this?
That all comes down to a question I'll probably ask you in the first meeting. What's your first memory of money? What's your first memory of money?
My first memory of money is being able to buy ice cream when I, made my first couple dollars, right?
Right. Mine was mowing the lawns, going out and being able to buy my first stereo. I went to Sears. I was all excited and had my $75 for this stereo. They had a record player and a CD. Listen to me. Let's date ourselves. I had a cassette.
I know all about CDs.
I had a cassette player, right? Okay. So that was some of my first memory of money, but also being the youngest of a large family. You know, my dad was the breadwinner, and, he was in his latter years of working when I was coming in through high school. So things weren't always flush, as it may have been for the older ones in our family. So it all comes down to memory of money, and then that's what's going to really drive your want to get a plan done. Mm-hmm. You know?
Let's talk
and
about
that's what makes me. You asked what was the passion. That's my passion.
Yeah, and let's talk about finding the most ideal financial planner. Obviously, you're going to want to call Dan Kautz and Kautz Buckley, but if someone wants to find the most ideal financial planner, what do you look for?
Well, we're going to cover more of that a little later in another topic, but it's very simple. One, you want to make sure they have a space in the web. You know, can you look them up, right? And that's part of our website, KautzBuckleyFinancial.com. But you want to see they have a process, like I just explained to you. We have a process in place, and you want to know that there should be a certain outcome. But the biggest thing is, do they care about you? We get paid in hugs, not money. You know, at the end of the day, we can sit around the table and talk to you about standard deviation, the alpha you're going to get on that return, how's the drawdown percentage on your portfolio, why are you using mutual funds over stock. We can get all that technical stuff done. But when you get in the car and you look at each other, he cared about us. That's the difference. And you got to find trust and you got to find care, because people will make mistakes. Issues will happen. Can we work together to get through it?
Mm-hmm. And I think financial planning can be a little bit intimidating, a little bit scary, especially for those who may not have a financial planner like myself. When I was introduced to you, I had so many different questions because it can be a little intimidating, right?
Yeah.
So how do you approach those who may never have had a financial planner and, they need to just understand the importance of it?
Well, I think going over the process, but also I feel they're going to probably know the importance when they come, or they're not coming to the office, one. But two, being able to connect with them is huge. As I said, getting to know what they want out of it. And as a client, it is intimidating, because you gotta might show the part of your life that you're not the strongest at. And we understand that. And it happens all the time. Money may not be the strong suit for a lot of people, but getting it out there and admitting you have a problem is the first thing, right?
Sure.
But getting it out there and talking about it and getting educated and seeing somebody like ourselves, even in our what we call a discovery meeting, even if you decide not to work with us, at least we can still get an understanding of what you want, and you can get understanding if we're the people you want to work with, and don't just interview one person.
Sure. And if someone is trying to sit down with you or your partner, how do they find out the information, and how long does it take to get into you?
Well, we're about a 2-week lead time. Just call the office at 716-276-8480. That's the best way to get a hold of us and get on our calendar. And then we'll work with you from there to confirm the appointment and tell you what documents are needed to bring. But more importantly, just bring yourself and let's start talking, because it just starts with that conversation.
Thank you, Dan, for the conversation. It was great to talk to you. Again, if you have more questions, feel free to reach out to Dan and Jeff.
To find out more information, please look us up at KautzBuckleyFinancial.com or call our office at 716-276-8480. Thank you very much, Kate.
Thank you.